A baby survives a plane crash that kills over 100 people. 50 years later, she still doesn't know who she really is. This is Operation Babylift. Welcome to Very Human History, where the past shapes your story. My name is Sergio,
And I'm Zaida.
and if you're new here, hit subscribe. Every week, we take one moment from history and turn it into something that you can use in your own life. Now, let's get into it. But first, Saida, sweetie, my love, has there been a time when you did something right, but you ended up hurting someone anyway?
Not directly a person, but I remember this time. I must have been like 11, 12,
Okay.
where this is back then when I used to live in Mexico. There was this place near my house where they supplied the water to the complexes where I
Mm-hmm.
lived, right?
Okay.
So it was a gated place. And we would like to go there, or we used to like going there, because a lot of like stray animals, like cats, dogs, will go over there to give birth. Because since it's a gated place, I don't know how the dogs or the cats will get in there,
Okay.
but they would just go and have their puppies or the kittens over there. So we would like to go, as a kid, you like the puppies, you like the kittens, you want to see them and all, right?
Yeah.
So remember this one time we went, we didn't have anything else to do. My brother and I went, like, let's go see, there's puppies, there's kittens.
Mm-hmm.
So we went, we crossed the street, and we saw a puppy, but it was alone. The mom wasn't there, and the puppy wanted to get out. So my brother and I were like, do we take him? Do we not take him? We were debating because we already had two dogs at the house, and my mom wasn't gonna let us have another one, especially if he came from the streets. And we kind of waited for the mom to come back, and the mom never appeared. So we were like, okay, let's take him and we hide him. And we were like, okay, in our head, that kind of made sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have a way to get him out because the place was gated. So we started digging like a little hole underneath the little gate, because the gate, I'm not sure if in your country they do that, but it's like this wire gate.
Uh-huh.
Like the
Yes,
one
yes,
that you
yes.
just like if you kind of like shovel underneath, like you can kind of
You
make
can
like a
pass
little hole.
through.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the puppy was small, like really, really was small. And we, with our hands, we just kind of made like a little tunnel underneath it. And we called the puppy and we kind of passed him through there. But the puppy, I think, remember how to pass through there. Point is that we take the puppy to the house and we'd hit him for like a day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my mom did not notice until we were outside, and I think an insect bites him, stings. I don't know what happened to the
Mm-hmm.
puppy. And the puppy starts, crying. And my mom hears it. And she was like, what is that? I'm like, nothing. And then she said, what's a puppy? She was like, no, 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 no. Put it back to where you find it. Put it back to where you find it. I was like, okay, so here you go. Me and my brother crossing the street, going to the gated place, and we put him back. Right? But then this time we saw the mom. I was like, okay, the mom's there. Like the puppy's mom's there. Okay, so we went home. Okay, whatever, right? But
She didn't think that you guys stole it or something?
no, because we had like this thing that we would like bring stray dogs. Like, I don't know if your country you
Okay.
have stray dogs, cats, that you just see
Okay.
them in the streets. Like it's common for you to bring a dog from the street in my country. Like you can bring a dog and they won't think that you stole there or something. So we went on, we started playing outside, and we noticed that the dog was trying to like escape, and he did once. And
Oh.
he learned the path to our house. So when we saw him, he's coming. And my brother's like, oh, no, 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 we need to put him back. So we grab him, we put him back, and we put some rocks on the little tunnel that we made underneath the gate,
Mm-hmm.
so it wouldn't get out, because like that's the way that it went through, because he had like dirt and stuff. So nothing, we kept going. We went home, went to sleep. And then the next morning, I'm the first one to leave the house because I will go to school, wait for the public transportation to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm waiting in the corner of my house, I see the dog laying on the street, Sergio.
You got,
In
I
order
blame you guys.
to cross to where I live, it's a road. Cars pass through there.
Oh.
Sergio, I didn't even want to walk to the other side of the street to see the dog because it looks like it tried to get out or come back like this to us
Mm-hmm.
again, and a car run him over. He was so tiny.
Oh no.
I went to school with my eyes bawling, Sergio. Like, you see me how I cry for dogs, animals in the internet that I don't even
Naira,
know.
why did you kill the dog?
Sergio, I'd never feel so crappy in my life. I went home. I mean, I went to school and I was in the public transportation, like the ears coming, like the tears coming down my face. And I was like, I feel so terrible because it was kind of like our fault.
How old were you?
I was like 12.
Dude, you killed the dog.
I was like 12. Like, Sergio,
Oh
I
my
never felt
God.
so bad in my life that, I mean, it was our fault. We showed the dog how to get out. And I guess trying to come back to us, he got run over. Man, after that, I was like,
Wow.
yeah, we're not doing that again. You know, like I kind of learned my lesson from there. Like, my brother did not see it because I think by
He
the
didn't know
time
that. He didn't know that you that the,
I don't remember if I told him or not, but he
did
did
you
not
tell
see
him after
anything.
he was older?
I don't remember. Like, I don't remember. It's like I was the one who saw it.
Oh my
I don't
God,
think he saw it
Zaira.
because by the time that I was back from school, the dog wasn't there anymore.
Oh, so did
I don't know if it was
what
that.
about the owner? Did she say
No,
anything?
these are like they don't have owners. Like, the place where I told you is kind of like it's a gated place
With a bunch of
where
stray
they
dogs?
supply water to the houses where I live. So it's kind of like this underground thing where they have water, and
Mm-hmm.
there's only the maintenance guy. Like, the maintenance guy kind of knows the dogs. And he knows, like, the guy that maintains, the water, the water is supplying well to the houses. He kind of like knows the dogs that they go over there to have their dogs because it's a safe place, kind of from, I guess, people and other animals. And I don't think he knew about the dog. I don't even know. I felt so after that. I was like, I'm not doing that again. Like, we kept coming back to see, other puppies, but we never tried to,
Yeah.
trying to like take them
And
home or sure they got to get out because like that did a number on me.
as
Like,
it really, dude,
it's
you never told me this.
something as I was, I was remembering. I was like, let me see if I have some story. And then I remember that. And he's like, I have so sad stories with pets.
Yeah.
That was just one of them that has been, I guess it was so traumatic that it has been buried in the back of my head. That right
Wow.
now that I remember, like, that was the first time ever I have ever cried over a dog. And it wasn't a dog that it wasn't even mine.
Yeah, I
Like,
get
the
it.
first time I think I ever felt guilt. Because, like, I'm 12. Why do I know about feeling guilty? You
Well, you
know,
do when you own, but not as
not
bad.
as bad, but like the dog died. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm guilty because I stole my brother's food or something. Like,
Mhm.
it's like a dog actually died because we showed him how to get out of the gate.
There isn't a specific kind of stock. You already know what you do. You're just waiting until you're sure you won't screw it up. You felt it in relationships, holding off to that hard conversation until you rehearse it enough times that it can come out wrong. You felt it in your career, sitting on the idea, in the pitch, the application, because you want to polish it before anyone sees it. You felt it as a parent, putting off that conversation your kid actually needs because getting it wrong feels worse than having it at all. But you felt it on the other side of that too. The time you had to end something for your own sake, fast, and it still wrecked the other person. The decision you made for someone because that wasn't the time to ask them first. You made the right decision, but they felt overwritten by it. Because acting fast doesn't just carry the risk of getting it wrong. Sometimes it means getting it right for one person and wrong for another in the very same moment. That's the tension sitting at the center of a story from a spring of 1975, inside a city that has maybe weeks left. Real quick, let me know in the comments what has been the result when trying to make a decision in the heat of the moment. Drop it in the comment below. It is late March 1975. Saigon is running out of time, and everyone in the city can feel it. North Vietnamese forces are moving south, fast, faster than anyone in the American embassy wants to say out loud. Da Nang has already fallen. The roads south are full of families walking with whatever they could grab on their way out the door. No one in Saigon is asking if South Vietnam is going to fall anymore. They're asking how many weeks they have left. In the middle of all that, there is a man named Ed Daly trying to get planes out of the country. Daly runs an airline called World Airways, one that has been flying cargo and refugees in and out of the region for years. And if you have to describe Daly in one word, patient is not the word. His daughter sends him an urgent message from California. Two charities, Friends for All Children and Save the Children, have found dozens of orphans in Saigon. They already have adoptive families waiting in the United States. The paperwork is done. The kids are ready. What they don't have is a plane. Daly has one. It's sitting on the ground, already set to fly back to the US for routine maintenance. He looks at the plane and sees an opportunity to do something. So he starts making calls. The charities, the South Vietnamese offices that signed the paperwork to leave the country. Everyone tells him the same thing. This will work. Just wait. Wait for the full approval. Wait for the embassy. Wait for the process to catch up. Daly does not wait. On the night of April 2nd, Daly has 58 kids loaded onto the cargo jet, sitting on a dark runway at Tan Son Nhut. Doctors and nurses climb on board with them, and somewhere along the way, someone turns off the runway lights. Maybe for safety, maybe to stop him. Hard to say. Daly takes off in the dark. The flight stops in Japan to refuel, and reporters are already standing there when he lands. Daly walks off the plane looking tired and angry at the same time, and tells every camera in front of him exactly what he thinks about the government that would rather deal with paperwork than move children out of the city about to fall. The story runs everywhere. 58 Vietnamese orphans flown out of the cargo jet by a man who did not ask for permission. The next morning, President Gerald Ford stands up in San Diego and tells the country the US government will fly out more than 2,000 Vietnamese and Cambodian orphans. He calls it Operation Babylift. The government did not move first. A man with a cargo plane and no patience moved first, and the government is catching up to him to avoid public embarrassment. Within a day, Air Force cargo planes are loading up to Tan Son Nhut. Nuns and volunteers are checking name lists that do not always match the kids standing in front of them. People are filling out paperwork on folding tables in the middle of an airfield that could go under fire at any moment. No one involved would call this a plan. It's people moving as fast as they can, figuring it out as they go. 2 days after Daly's flight, on the same runway, the US government takes over, moving just as fast, with just as little time to get everything right. On the afternoon of April 4th, one of the biggest planes in the entire Air Force takes off from Tan Son Nhut, a huge cargo plane, built to carry tanks and trucks, not people. This is the first official flight of Operation Babylift. Over 300 people are on board. More than 200 of them are kids, most under 2 years old, strapped to 2 and 3 to a seat, packed into baby beds lined up row after row. 12 minutes in, high in the sky, something goes wrong in the back of the plane. The back doors fail. The air rushes out fast. It tears through the control, and the crew is suddenly fighting a plane that is completely out of their control. They turn back to Saigon. They don't make it. The plane comes down in a flooded field a few miles short of the runway. 138 people do not walk away from that field. More than half of the people on board do. But the same rush that saved her also means no one has the time to keep every child's story straight. Some kids get taken from parents who never agreed to let them go. Others just lost their story completely. Who they were, where they came from, swallowed by the chaos and never fully recovered. The Air Force grounds every plane like it. Operation Babylift keeps going anyway. Small cargo planes, regular airlines, anything that can fly. Over the next 3 weeks, more than 2,000 kids leave Vietnam this way. Volunteers hand babies up the steps of these planes, one after another, like packing boxes down the line. Some flights are so full they turn airline seats to face each other and build makeshift beds down the whole cabin. And almost right away, the hard question starts. Newspapers run headlines that just straight up ask, baby lift or baby snatch? Because it turns out every kid on those planes is really an orphan. Some had been left at the orphanage for a little while by parents who planned to come back once the fighting stopped. Some were given up in the middle of a country falling apart. A mother told this is the only way her child survives, with no real time to think it through. A nurse born in Vietnam named Mui McConnell files a lawsuit for a group called Committee to Protect the Rights of Vietnamese Children. Her claim? Kids were taken without the real agreement from families who loved them and wanted them back. Congress opens an investigation and finds, in their own words, a total lack of planning by every group involved, government and private. Families of the crash victims sued the plane maker and the US government, and years later settled for millions of dollars. Here is the part of the story that does not wrap up clean. Real kids got out of the war zone that was days from falling apart to a government no one trusted. And some of those kids got taken from parents who never fully agreed to let them go. Both of those things are true about the same 3 weeks in April. Decades later, one of those babies from that very first flight will need to know exactly which one of these things is true about her own life. Irene Lockhart grew up in a small town in Virginia, raised by a family who adopted her. She had a tattoo, a cross over her heart, the same symbol worn by the nuns who once cared for her. And she had that story, the one she was always told, that she was chosen for the first flight, that she survived the crash, and that is just how her life in America started. For most of her childhood, that story was enough. But questions do not go away because you stop asking them out loud. As an adult, Lockhart went looking for whatever records she could find for those 3 weeks in 1975. What she found, boxed up in a nun's basement, did not fully match the story that she grew up with. Details got lost or mixed up or just never written down in all that chaos. It turns out her own rescue was just as imperfect as the whole operation that carried it out. The paperwork was incomplete. The record was incomplete. Some of what she has been told her whole life was just the best answer people had, at a moment when no one had the time to get every answer right. What she found didn't answer the question so much as complicated it. A few surviving letters mention her paperwork had been swapped more than once in the chaos, that somewhere in it she may have ended up traveling under a name that wasn't hers. This is the part of the story most people never hear. Operation Babylift was not run well. It was incredibly unfair to some of the families it touched. The same people who saved her also failed her in different ways at the same exact moment. She lived because people moved fast. And she spent years of her adult life trying to find the truth because those same people never slowed down enough to get her story right. Both of those things happened to the same little girl. So, sweetie, what is your first reaction to this story?
To me, this is mind blowing because
Yep.
I'm a parent. I have a 5-year old and I have a 2-year old. I just cannot imagine the pain the parents must have felt. You know what it
Hmm.
also reminds me of? The ghetto Warsaw with Irina,
Oh,
the
that's
story that we
right.
covered a few weeks ago. It's just one of those decisions that you don't ever want to make because these kids were trying to get out of war, and I'm pretty sure the parents meant well.
Hmm.
Trying to save them from whatever was coming or whatever they thought that was coming, and just giving up your kid and just saying, "Yeah, you go have another life, go be safe somewhere else." It's hard, and it's as a parent, it's a really hard and tough decision to make. I don't know. I don't want to ever be in a position like that, at least with my
And
kids.
also think about the chaos of the war itself, huh? Like that idea, the whole thing of you see that the people, the North Vietnam, you see that North Vietnam is coming, and they're just taking city after city, and they're just getting closer and closer to Saigon. These parents are like desperate, and in a way, I think it's valid for them to feel that maybe they were taking advantage of their desperation. Also, because on the other side of America, you have parents who want other kids. It's almost like, you know what I'm saying? Like let me take. It could be construed as an ill intent, even though they were trying to help, and
Yes.
they save a lot of people. This same thing reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, a few years back that we saw that plane in Afghanistan that had all these people, and the president back then, he was trying to, do you remember that there was a
Is
first
it the one where like they kind of
they
pull
fell
out
to their
and
death.
people were trying just to get on the plane and they
Yes,
would just cling to the plane?
yes.
Oh my god, yes.
So the United States was trying to get out of get out of Afghanistan, and I get why, because America has been there for a long time, and there was a promise that we were gonna get out. But the way the United States got out was terrible because it did not leave in place security, and a lot of people died
Yes.
because of that. And it was not intentional, but it left a huge mark
Mm-hmm.
in the country. And even like in stuff with stuff like that, even with the good part of the story, the whole thing feels really heavy because you have real lives that are being affected.
Yes.
Why do you think it is that heavy? Why do you think it feels that way?
I think it's the fact that, like you said, it wasn't a win-win situation. Maybe for the
Mm-hmm.
people that needed to adopt, it was, but it wasn't fair for the kids. It wasn't fair for the parents. Like, okay, the ones that didn't have parents, it's understanding, the kids don't have anything else or nobody else in Vietnam. But the ones that did,
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a story while I was researching about what we're talking about. And there were kids that got to the US that were a little bit older, like 5 years and up, that they got to their adopted parents and they were saying how they had parents.
Mm-hmm.
They were telling their adopted parents, like, I had parents back home.
Yeah.
And as a parent, just thinking about like how you went and left your kid in an orphanage so war wouldn't get to it, and then finding out that your kid is gone. Like,
Yeah.
how do you even process that? Like, it's finding a needle on a haystack. Like, they cannot come here. They cannot take a plane and come here to the US to look for them. How do they, like, I put myself in the position being in another country. How do you get to the US to get your kids?
And there wasn't a process to set up those kids to reconnect with their parents either.
That it should have been a process, because with Irina's story, it was more,
Organized.
and it was terrible, and it was worse because people were
Hmm.
dying. Like, it was just a matter like they would not let the kids live the Warsaw.
Yeah.
But here that they're actually getting up, like the system wasn't like the technique was okay, but the system lack a lot of
And
stuff.
I get why. Like let's spend some time in this. The reason why this happened is because they're trying to get as many people out, and also it is obviously because of Dali put a lot of pressure on the government to not look so bad.
Yes.
And okay, let's do something. Let's do something. You see what I'm saying? Like the government is doesn't want to look bad, so they get as many people as they can. We're gonna get 2,000 people, sir, said the president back then. But what I think it feels so heavy is because you have real life. It's like it's real people alive, and also this is something that I find a bit interesting. When we were watching the documentary about this and we were researching, there was a moment where like, well, why you are in America? Why would you want to
Go back and look for your
why would you want to go?
family.
And I get it now. Why? It is because it's a sense of your identity, trying to find out who you are, trying to find out what the life would have been like if you were born and stay with your parents. And there is also this: you live in America, and when you don't look like your parents, sometimes there is that inferiority complex that you may feel, or like that you don't belong, knowing also that you are adopted, or that who knows, maybe bullying in school or whatever it is, it makes you
And I
carry
think,
yourself with a chip on your shoulders.
yes, and I think for people that, I mean, I'm not adopted. I can I speak for experience or anything like that, but I think the main thing that I see with people that are adopted is wanting to know why. Like,
Yes.
why did you give me up? Why did you decide that I was better off here than with you?
Trying to get answers,
Exactly.
trying
It's
to
just that
understand.
closure.
Hmm.
Like trying to understand why. If you put it on a scale, it weighs more for you to be adopted and be safe than be dead.
Yes.
Like,
Which, by the way, the kids died as well because of the first. It's just, it
it's hard.
was a great
It's
idea.
tricky, yes.
It was a great idea. It was with good intentions, but at the same time, in something as big as this and as personal as this, I don't think it really matters. I don't think it lessens the blow really when it comes to what I'm saying is like whatever interpretation their parents may have, they're right. If they're thinking, "Oh, I understand that you were trying to help to save my kid," then they are right. If they're thinking, "You took my kid away, you stole my kid," they're also right. Meaning, it is such a big and heavy situation.
There's no right and wrong answer here. Because either way you look at it, I mean, it's just, it's like imagine you're one of those parents, like, yeah, you willingly give away your kid because you wanted to have a better life, and then they were in the plane that crashed. But
That's
you can
another
also
thing.
be the parent that didn't want to leave, didn't want to, want your kid to go away, and he ended up being adopted here in the United States. Like,
Mm.
it's a hard situation, and as a parent,
If you were one of the parents, would you still call it a rescue?
I think I would. I
Yeah.
mean, in the end, I guess as parents, we're trying to do whatever is best for our kids, And
Mm-hmm.
as for the parents that put the kids in an orphanage and did not give their consent for the kids to be given up, you made the decision that your kid was safe somewhere else, that it was not with you, you know? So I think at the end of the day, you just weigh out the good with bad, or I guess bad with bad.
Yeah. But
Like,
with worse.
exactly. Like, do you want your kids like to be safe and you not see them again? Because as a mom, I will be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I will have a hope that I can maybe still get to see them. But once they're dead, I don't get that chance. I don't get that hope.
When you move fast to help somebody, you don't usually see what it costs while you're doing it. You just see the person in front of you and the clock, and you make the call. That's not the mistake. Because sometimes if you wait for the moment you're sure you won't hurt anybody, you'll wait your whole life. And the person who needed you today won't get you at all. Here's what actually goes wrong. You help. It works. And because it worked, you never go back and ask what it cost the person you helped. But if you end up hurting someone in the process, don't pretend it didn't happen. Good intentions do not let you off the hook. Be humble enough to go back and fix what actually went wrong. Because you did what was right in the moment. But that doesn't always change how the person on the wrong side of that decision actually feels. So, acting takes courage. It does. Going back takes humility. No one went back for Erin Lockhart. She had to go back for herself. 50 years later, digging through a box in a basement, just to find out who she really was. We live in the middle of 100 small moments like this every week. Fast decisions, good intentions, people affected by choices they never weighed in on. Picture what changes if going back becomes normal. We stop defending our decision the second someone tells us they are hurt by one. We start asking the people close to us what our fast calls actually cost them. And we sit with the answer instead of explaining our way out of it. The people who trust us with the big, fast decisions keep trusting us. Not because we never get it wrong, but because they know we'll come back for the truth, not just the outcome. All that takes is finishing what you started, treating I helped as the beginning of the story, not the end of it. That's the kind of people we should be. Not just the ones who show up fast, the ones who stay long enough to make it right. Thanks for spending time with us. Subscribe, follow along, and we will catch up with you next time. Bye bye. Do you think someone can still do the right thing? I mean, obviously, look at you. You killed a dog. Trying to and still do real damage, wouldn't you say? Like you, for example. Huh?
you
Uh,
know,